So now that we know what are all the modes are available, how you can move from one mode to the other mode. Now, do I have to remember the whole set of commands or do I have to type the whole set of commands? May not be. See, as long as you are going to be working with the Cisco iOS devices, the only person you can trust or who is sitting inside the device is your question mark. Wherever you want, you can take the help of your question mark. If you're not very sure what all the commands are available, simply press the question mark. You can see the set of commands available over there. See, when I press question mark, see, I press the question mark, I see all the set of commands that I can see under here, right? For example, I know that a command starts with E, but I forgot the full command. I just want to see all the commands starts with E. So I take the help of E and then press question mark. You can see all the set of commands starting with E, right? So I feel that en is the command I would like to be using because I know that enable is the command which will take me from user execution mode to the privilege execution mode. Do I have to type all the keywords, all the keys like en, able? May not be. You can simply press enter. You no need to type the full commands as you can enter the enough number of characters to uniquely identify a command which is more than enough. Now I'm wondering from user execution mode, how do I get into the global configuration mode? What is that the command we have to use it? We know that configure terminal. Do I have to configure fully? No. Configure conf and then give a question mark. You can see that's the only command available. Either you can press spacebar or you can press the tab to complete the command. If you press spacebar, the command has been taken but it will not be filled. Whereas if you press the tab, the command is going to be filled, right? If you would like to see the full set of command, press tab key to auto complete the command. But you have to give enough number of characters to uniquely identify the command. We know that configure, but along with configure, what is that I have to type? I forgot it. So I just want to see the arguments that can be associated as part of the configure command. Give question mark, you can see all the set of arguments that could be part of your configure keyword. Now I remember, okay, terminal. So T is the terminal command is the only command starts with T. So T is more than enough. Now say T and then press tab, you see that the command is going to be filled automatically. Press enter. But similarly, interface, I pressed I and then give a question mark. There are many commands starts with I. I'm just giving IN and then giving a question mark. Only one command starts with IN. So press tab. Right? What's the interface I'm trying to configure? I don't know what all the set of interfaces are available in this device. Just simply give the question mark. You can see the set of interfaces that could be available in this router. I know that fast Ethernet, FA and then press tab, the command got filled in automatically, but you don't have a choice of giving 0/0 being filled automatically. So the port has to be uniquely identified by the port identity. How the port is going to be identified? Module number followed by the port number, or slot number slash module number slash the port number. So here I say only 0/0. So you don't have any other mechanism to jump from one mode to an extreme end. For example, user mode, I cannot get into the global configuration mode. So similarly, from privilege mode, I cannot directly get into the specific configuration mode. It is a hierarchy. You have to move in sequence. Whereas when you're coming back, you no need to. Instead of pressing exit, I can take the help of end. Wherever I am, if I execute this command, immediately I'll be getting into the privilege mode. It doesn't matter where I am, right? So if I say exit, one step backward. If I say end, directly to the privilege mode. So I can also see what are all the commands, right? So configure terminal, interface fast ethernet 0/0. Then I no need to type end also. Instead of that, the control keys are there. Hold the control key plus Z. You can see that one. Instead of end, you can also press control and Z to get into the privilege mode directly, right? So you have various ways to get into the privilege mode from any mode directly. But while you are moving, you have to go in sequence: user mode, privilege mode, global configuration mode, and then the specific configuration mode. This is how you have to go for it. Assuming that I have done the configuration of my interface fast Ethernet 0/0, now I would like to configure interface fast Ethernet 0/1. For example, interface fast Ethernet 0/0. I am done with the configuration. Now what I want is, I would like to configure fast Ethernet 0/1. I cannot press in end, because if I give end, immediately I'll be getting into the privilege mode. So I can also say interface, but here see, I cannot use the tab key here because there is no command starts with IN here. I'm already in one interface specific configuration mode. Now I would like to move on to a different interface specific configuration mode. I can say that interface fast Ethernet 0/1. Even though the command is not going to be shown, you have moved on. Now you are in which interface? Interface fast Ethernet 0/1. But it is not recommended to do initially. But of course, once you got familiar with the Cisco Internet Network operating system, however you want, you can. Right? So what I'm trying to do is interface fast Ethernet 0/0. I'm in this specific mode. I would like to get into the interface fast Ethernet 0/1 specific configuration mode. What I supposed to do is I say exit. Now I'm in global configuration mode. Then I can get into the interface fast Ethernet 0/1. How do I get into? Do I have to type everything once again? No need, because the recently executed commands are going to be stored in history. I can recall that history by pressing the up arrow. You can see the commands whatever has been executed. You can see this one, right? So interface fast Ethernet 0/0. All I have to do is what? The last 0 is going to be replaced with 0/1. That's it. So now I have logged into fast Ethernet 0/1 specific interface configuration mode. Now whatever the changes I do here, it will affect only interface fast Ethernet 0/1, not any other interfaces, right? Now I have done the configuration of fast Ethernet 0/0 as well as fast Ethernet 0/1. Now I want to configure entirely different interface now. Interface only, but not fast Ethernet. I would like to configure, let me say, serial, or I would like to configure a loopback. I would like to configure some other interfaces. Do I have to type interface, loopback, or something like that? Not required. Just need to recall the previous command. I can erase the characters one by one by pressing the backspace, or I can also press Ctrl W to erase one word. Right? Now I have erased one word. Now I would like to configure serial interface is not there, so I am going to be configuring the loopback 0. What is the significance of loopback interface? We will discuss in later sessions, right? So there is an interface called as loopback. That's what we need to know as per this particular session, right? So what I did, I have recalled the previous command, and then I have taken the help of Control W to erase the word by word, and then I can start typing the rest of the portion. You no need to type always the command fully, and even you have the option of recalling the previous commands, and you also have the option of editing those commands by using the control keys, right? So Control W is used to erase one word, whereas if I take Control U, which will erase one line as a whole, right? Up arrow is used to move on to the previous command, whereas down arrow can help you to move next. Up arrow is for the previous command, down arrow is for the next command. But what would be the use of left and right arrow? Left and right arrow is going to be useful for you to move the cursors. If I press left arrow one step before, right, backward, the cursor is going to be moved backward. For every press, one step backward. Whereas the right arrow is going to be helping you to move the cursor one step forward. Right? At times it is possible that these arrow keys may not be working depending on the settings. Now, if that is the case, what is that I do is, instead of up arrow, you can press Control and P. Control P is equivalent to up arrow, the previous commands. Control P, previous commands. Whereas Control N is the next command, like a down arrow, right? Instead of a left arrow, you can take the help of Control B, backward. Let's say this one command, Control B is the backward. Can you see this one? One step backward. Whereas Control F is for the forward. Instead of a right arrow, you can take the help of Control F. So Control P is for recalling the previous command. Control N, next command in the history. Control B, backward. Control F, forward. At times, you may need to see, sometimes what will happen, you would like to withdraw the command whatever you have applied, whatever the configuration that you have applied. In Cisco IOS, that can be done by preceding any of the commands, whatever the command that you have given for configuring, the same command is going to be executed by having no in front of that command. For example, I have created a loopback interface. I don't want this loopback interface. Just position the cursor in front of that line. Can you see this one? I want the cursor to be positioned at the beginning of the command, and then I need to start with no. So how do I move? I can press left arrow one by one so that the cursor can be moved all the way to the front. Instead, I can press Control A. The cursor is going to be positioned at the beginning of your command. So I can type no and then say no interface loopback 0. So to position the cursor at the beginning of the command, you take the help of Control and A. It is also possible that at times what will happen, I would like to position the cursor at the end of the command line. Now what I do, Control E. When I say Control E, the cursor is going to be positioned at the end of your command, right? So Control A is for positioning the cursor at the beginning of your command. Control E is used to position your cursor at the end of your command.